Welcome everyone to the Institute for Environmental Futures seminar. Today's topic is Madrid city's flora as a model for biodiversity conservation integration in urban planning. And our speakers, I'm Emilio Payo, and our speakers will be Dr. Rut Sánchez de Dios and Dr. Felipe Domínguez Lozano. Both of them are researchers in the Complutense University in Madrid, within the area, in the Department of Evolution, Ecology, and Biodiversity, which is within the botany area. And today's topic is going to be about the first urban plan inventory for Madrid that has been taking place during the last 3 years and tries to show us how the city biodiversity is shown, what approaches can we take towards it, and what lessons to learn. So with that said, I'll give the word to Felipe.
Okay, thank you very much, Emilio, and thank you to the university for invited us, Ruth and I, to give this talk. And, and first of all, I think we should apologize about our language. I hope that you, Emilio, solve this problem, the communication problems that maybe we need. So yes, as you said, the talk is going to be about Madrid flora, Madrid wild plants, but we are going to put some theoretical background of this project at the very beginning of the talk, and then some final remarks because you asked us to speak about more about citizen science and how this type of science match with botany. So that's so just let's start with the first part of this talk. So in this first part of the talk, we are going to talk about how cities change the natural biodiversity that it was there before the city grows. So to talk about this a little bit, just a little bit, we have to bear in mind that there are different responses, different changes in biodiversity according to human population densities. As a rough estimate, we can talk about high density urban areas, like everybody understand what is an old city, like old towns or downtowns or city centers. You have there the highest human density, let's say 250 people per square kilometer. Then you move to another habitats, you move to another places where there is less people living on it, and we can talk about suburban habitats with a population density about 5 or 150 people per square kilometers. And finally, we would like to talk about conurbations, which is this large mega cities make up of two, three, four cities that keep their own entity, but they are interconnected by motorways or even by urban spaces. So we can talk about these three classes of cities, if you like, right? So let's start with high density urban areas, like all cities in Europe, for example. In blue, in this graph, in blue, you can see how, how what type of biodiversity response, biodiversity changes you may expect in these all cities, in these um, um, urban cities. So that's going to make a pointer here. So, and in red, you can see the conservation tools that you may use to try to stop bad things that are happening to biodiversity. We are not going to talk to we are not going to talk to this all these points, but we are going to focus on something. For example, this, which is really the most, I mean, this is the most tragic thing happening to biodiversity in 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 the cities, to my knowledge, I guess. And we are also going to talk also about this and this conservation measures, micro reserves. So extinction in the cities are really huge at the very beginning. You most of the plants that you lost in the city are the plants that were growing in natural areas before the city start to grow, and we can call this rapid or quick local initial extinction. But you also have a constant extinction rate. You are always losing some plants in the city, even if you don't like it. I mean, because the city is a very complex and dynamic habitat. So you have taken into account also this constant extinction rate. And we are going to talk about some examples that we know here in Madrid. But for example, this little plant, which is only about 1 or 2 centimeters high, so just like a thumb, and growing it used to grow in a only in one population here in Madrid, and it's also growing in 4 or 5 mm, other localities in the central Spain, and that's it. You have to cross the Mediterranean Sea to find the largest population of these plants in the Sahara Desert. So it's quite a remarkable plant because it has been possible for it to grow in Iberia in a very limited populations. And one of them used to be here, living by this brick wall in as I write here, living close to a bus council parking lot. In 2002, this 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 wall was renovated, as a result of that, the last population of this little plant in Madrid was extinct. And this is quite remarkable because it's protected by law by some regional governments in Spain. And it's also part of the red data book for the country. Another one is this one, Finara 1240. I didn't call the name, but you just, it's not important. The names in botany are not important. Sorry about it. And this plant is called Finara 1240. It's endemic to Iberia. It's endemic to Spain. Only in 4 or 5 population across the whole country. And one of them used to grow just also very close to the city in this land. And the city council of Coslada, which is a small city close to Madrid, decided to turn this land, which was agricultural land, to turn this land to a new urban development. And as a consequence, we 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 did we lost this population, this plant population. Also, a very endangered plant. I mean, it's critically endangered using the IUCN categories. So it's really a sad loss or in the city. So another important thing we have to bear in mind is not only extinction, but the, just because the cities constantly grow, you produce a lot of fragmentation, small fragments of natural habitats that we can call them remnant habitats. And you find this type of habitats in the city just because there are some um, unbelievable. There are some places where the building can go, like vertical natural walls, rock walls, riverbanks or seesaws. They are the last remaining natural habitats that you can find in cities usually, or what we call strategic places, which are places that nobody can get into because they are strategic, like communication towers, water towers, or high security zones in the army zones in the city, and you can find a special plant type communities, special vegetation more or less natural, just in the middle of the city. Here you can see an example in Madrid. This veget this this vegetation is quite amazing because it's a gypsum substrate vegetation, very difficult to find in natural conditions, and you can find here one in the city of Madrid just because this type of vegetation, this vegetation type is growing in an archaeological site. So just because of that, it's protected, not because of the plants, but the cultural value of this site. And um, and we can find another places with Brenman vegetation in the city, which is usually woodlands, but also this type of vegetation. Um, Another kind of biodiversity change in the cities has to do with the novel ecosystem, with the new habitat, artificial habitats that the human beings are creating all the time. And you have here the list of more than 10 or more than 10, 20 different sites where the plants, wild plants, can also grow, no matter how artificial are. And, they can do it very well. Like this example in Madrid, this is a forest, and it's a forest, but it's a forest because you have all the dynamic of a forest there. You have seedlings, you have samplings, you have big trees, but most of them, I mean, the forest is totally new. It has like 50 years, that's all, and it's a biodiversity forest because they have a lot of species of plants, of tree species, like 7 species, but half of them are non-native. Non-native species living with native species in this new forest in Madrid. You can see there are special birds also. So it's like a natural area with non-native species too. Uh, and we have this kind, what we call this, you call this backend urban lots. We have this in Madrid, and it has been of public awareness. This kind of places because the people used to walk over there with the dogs, and they feel attached to this kind of places. With even with this type of landscapes, they love this. I mean, people, because it's the only landscape that they don't have buildings on it. And you can also find interesting plants in this type of terrain and back and urban lots in the city. Um, Talking about solutions, if you want, we are going to talk only about micro research because it's quite tricky to see natural areas like this in cities. This is an example of a micro reserve, really small, like 14 hectares, which is, I don't know how many, in but maybe like 7 football pitch. Um, uh, and you can find there like 425 species of plants, different plants growing in the middle of the city, and 16 tropical trees also with high mm, with height with a height in biotype. Yeah, so it's important, and the microreserve, the plants there are working, and they are functional. They produce flowers, and they shelter birds, and yeah, it's a natural habitat even in tropical cities like Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, or in Perth in southwestern Australia. You can find a micro reserve, a public park with the natural vegetation, the eucalyptus forest growing just very close to the city center in Perth in Australia. So uh, uh, just bear in mind that micro reserve can be a solution when you are talking about urban biodiversity. Well, let's talk. We have been talking about old cities, high populated areas, but we have also problems in suburban habitats, in peri-urban environments. And I mean, I guess everybody knows what we are talking about when we talk about suburban areas. It's like these things. Um, and there is no high buildings, but houses, little houses with a lot of vegetation in between. These are the kind of problems that we can expect in this type of landscape, and these are the conservation tools that you may employ. You just talk here about just one single thing in this type of habitat. What it called biotic. Oh, this is going to be difficult in English. Homogenization. Sorry. I mean, you know what I am talking about. In this biotic homo something, we have different plants coming from different origins. Even non-native species are forming this species pool, and it's called like that because it's like being in different cities but find the same wild plants in them, like the same shop. When you go to the city center, you say the same shops in everywhere in like Starbucks coffee in Madrid, Barcelona, in London, whatever. So this is also happening in plants, and what is important to say here is this type of homogenization makes the flora richer, not poorer, because usually they don't there is not very much plants going extinct in this homogenization. Talking about plants, so it's important to know. And I would like to finish this introduction talking about conurbations in the Mediterranean, because here we have problems with biodiversity in the Mediterranean coast. If you see this map, this is the east part of Spain by the Mediterranean Sea. And for example, in Valencia province, which is this territory that I am enclosing with the pen, and 50% of the whole territory of the province is just urban territory. It's artificial territory, a kind of suburban cities and roads mainly. Um, or you can see the evolution of this type of terrain, this type of conurbation in Benalmadena in Malaga, which is a tourist destination for most of European people. This is the the aspect of the land in 1954, so 18 years ago, and this is the land that you have already here now. Mm, so a huge impact in biodiversity in a very rapid steps. So in conurbation, we are going to talk about this extreme fragmentation. This is the response of the biodiversity. The biodiversity became highly fragmented. And, for example, to give you just a few figures, in Spain, only from we have 6,000 kilometers of seashore, of coastline, and we have only 81 sand dune systems, natural sand dune systems in the country, just because of this high fragmentation of, 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 of coastal lines. And this is also happening in the whole Mediterranean biome, not only in the Mediterranean basin, but also in any of them that you go. For example, in California, around 50, depend of where you with of who you talk, but they give you these figures around 15 or 44% of the whole coastal shrub communities are left. I mean, everything. The rest of the of the type community is gone forever. So yeah, high fragmentation, and we have discovering, and we have this idea. I mean, of plants that are becoming relics, not because of biodiversity causes, but for touristic causes. Plants that plants that used to be uh, in more places, used to be a larger distributional range, and now they are restricted relics of in a few patches of natural population in between this huge conurbation of tourist cities. And we have plenty of examples of this. I'm going to, I mean, I'm going to go fast because of this, but usually they are growing in the last remaining habitat with impossible to build, like cliffs in by the sea, like this plant in the Limonium genus, or genus, thank you, or this one, Asparagus macrorhizos, which is only growing in few locations in the whole world, and that's it. And with less than 1,000 individuals. There used to be population across the whole seashore in this area of Murcia in the southeast of Spain. It's only, and now we have only 1,000 individuals. Or this one, Stachys maritima, which is a plant which is only growing at, at least now in 1, 2, and 3 populations by Girona in the north of Barcelona, and that's it for Spain, because there is no place to go to this plant. It's growing in sand dunes, which are very close to the hotels and beach apartments in this city. And as I said, we have plenty of examples of these tourist relics across Spain. Not only plants, but also animals. A solution for this type of conurbation problem is, at least from our point of view, is trying to find what is called umbrella species, a paradigmatic, emblematic species that which protect, which if you protect this paradigmatic species, you are protecting the whole community. So you can use this to like a umbrella to protect the rest of them. And in Spain, we have this tree in the, how do you call this, juniperus tree. How do you call this in English? Juniperus, I think. The common name of this in English is juniperus. Juniper tree. And we have this in which grows by the coast in the whole Mediterranean line, and you can use this type of species to try to protect the rest of the ecosystem. And at least, um, well, if you are able to protect a tree, you will be able to protect a herb or something smaller. So that's all for this introduction.
Thank you, Felipe. Well, now I'm gonna talk about our project to make an inventory of the urban flora of Madrid. So this is this was a project that started by the city municipality. So they contact us, and we were a lot of botanists from working on this from the UCM, from our university, but also from another universities. But in addition, there were independent botanists. Some of them, they are not scientists. They don't work in any scientific places, but they know very well the Madrid flora, and it was very very nice from this project to be able to to, to gather all their knowledge regarding Madrid flora. So I don't know if you can see the mouse. Yeah, this is the all the city council border, and we were working just in this part in the green color. We didn't work in this yellow part because it's a natural area, very important. It's very it's an exception in the city, in all the cities, because it's the place where the royal family used to go hunting. So it's very natural, and we focus on in urban flora. So this is why we only work here. So it was 350 square kilometers, 50% of Madrid surface. So what we found, or what we can find in Madrid. So Madrid is very interesting because it's in it has a different background concerning the ecology or the soils. As you can see, the north of the city are acidic soils. What, meanwhile, the southeast the soil has a evaporitic origin, so they are basic soils. Even we can find gypsum, as Felipe said before. So this is gonna make an influence in the flora that we are gonna find. So, for example, this is a landscape on over evaporitic sediments, and this is the landscape over or growing on acidic soil. So, to start with our project, we came from a very important previous work uh, done in 2015, which gather all the previous information from varia and by bibliographic and bibliography. So these were around 2,000 records, and we made field work, and so at the end it was 25 records. So this is our methodology. We made tracks and in the places, and we in some point we stop it, and we make some plans inventory. At the end, we collected information about 1,500 species into 100 families. Most of them were native, and 100 were alien. And you can see on the cities coast. And this is all the effort that our project made for the knowledge of the Madrid flora. No, this is our project here, and this is all the previous stuff. So not all the plants that were collected in the very beginning in the 18th century are still with us. We, as Felipe said, the cities are dynamic. So 189 of the species that were recorded at the very beginning went extinct. But on the other hand, we also collected new species because they even today every single day the new species are coming to the city, and some of them are aliens, some of them are not. So it's a very interesting habitat, and it's very, very dynamic. We also wanted to know not just what are the species that are growing in the city, but also where do they grow. So we study the habitat type. Um, so there were some habitats related with roads, some habitat related with pine afforestation, they planted pines, and some habitat in new suburban parks, and also plants growing in all historic parks. So, and wasteland, of course, and the remaining habitat that Felipe was talking about before, mainly holm oak woodlands and the gypsum steppes. So we wanted to know how which were the richest habitat. So if you see these figures, the vacant lots in number of records were the winners. But if you see the number of species, you see that they have a lot of records, but not so many species because most of the species are repeat. So making a reflection, you see that the richest habitats are the less natural ones. This is because the things that Felipe was explaining before, they attract new species, some are alien, but also they are able to retain the the oldest the oldest one. We based on these results, we proposed 8 micro reserves in Madrid, which you can see here the locations, and here are the picture of some of them. Most of them are places in these places in these areas that have been survived to the urban crisis that is in all the cities, no? To be and to live everywhere. And finally, I would like to talk about. We were also interested in study the disturbance processes that occur in this urban habitat. So we study the effect of mowing, and as you can see, the effect is depending on the type of habitat. And some of them, if the mowing is very frequent, the richness grow. For example, vacant lots, but in other words, for example, suburban parks, the richness decrease. Another disturbance, for example, were the effect of rabbits in pine afforestation. Mowing doesn't affect the richness of the species in the pine afforestation, but rabbits decrease the number of species that you can find. And that's all.
Okay, just 5 minutes of very quick final conclusion or final message that we would like to show and share with you, just in case you find them interesting. For example, we were not expert in urban floras 3 years ago when the city council come to us with us. We didn't know anything about plants in the cities. I mean, we didn't pay very much attention, I have to say, to these plants. But and we used to think about this plant, even the city like a bubble, like a world apart from very different from the natural world. And we discovered that think we learned, maybe we should say, we learned that the city is not a bubble, but it's a magnet, and a lot of species are coming and going in a very dynamic pace, which is remarkable for us. It was really nice to find this in Madrid as well. No? Um, um, but it's important to notice, especially if you are working on conservation. We were used to work in conservation in natural areas in Spain, but when you work in a city, I'm sorry, I need to I need a pointer. You should know that you should know that cities will never end. I mean, the cities will be there forever. So it's not like working in. Oh my God. Sorry. Um, it's not like working in a national park. You have to work in a very artificial environment, and maybe the tool that you have to bear in mind is using restoration ecology. Just like you are not going to reach never a natural state, but at least you have a continuum of conservation measures that allow to share the city not only with the human beings but also with the with the with the rest of the biodiversity, with the rest of the species, plants and animals. Um, and there is an important thing here is to, to find that there are two kinds of biodiversity in a city, if you want. A natural biodiversity, the biodiversity that botanists are more used to, wild plants that you see going to the field. But there is also a cultural biodiversity, which is huge in the cities, which is which is which is also part of our cultural heritage. And I am talking not only about non-native species, but also planted species, horticultural species that grow in gardens that can be, I mean, they are interesting if they keep their range in the city. So we have to put together this as a botanist because most of the people in Madrid, for example, love more this cultural biodiversity than this natural one. So yeah. Um, what about the future? The future, talking about citizen science. This is my personal view, our personal view, I must say. Uh, Citizen science is really good, but you want to be effective, you have to pay for the time. That's the conclusion that we reach when we work doing inventories, plan inventories in Madrid. We were able to finish this inventory in 3 years just because we have this expertise. These people are not professional botanists. They work in, I don't know, in bakeries, they work in as a driver or something, but they have been training like botanists and they know a lot. And but they are doing this in their free time, so you have to pay for the for their expertise to work in this kind of projects if you want to be effective. So citizen science, yes, but you need money as always. Um, and something related with citizen science is this thing that botanists for us is difficult. Is difficult when we were talking in a TV show, in a very, I mean, quite a popular TV show in Spain. The journalist, the presenter, said to us, "Look, we have to talk with us, showing us places where people can recognize themselves." So, oh, I see. This is a very good message for us botanists. We didn't care about people, only about plants. So, citizen science try to find places where people recognize themselves. Um, and something that is happening here in Spain, or at least in Madrid, is the citizen conservation, citizen science is more related with people of my age. I am not going to say all, but people of my age. And it's quite a scarce uh, amount of young people in citizen science in botany, at least in Madrid. It is, as you can say there, this is this is a meeting of people in a neighborhood in Spain talking about conservation problems of this area, and the average age of this group was like 50 or 60, I don't know, just one or two young people. We have to conserve also, talking about citizen science, we have to conserve young people, at least in Spain. And 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 that's it. And we make this project. We have this. I'm going to make some. This project is we write a book in this project. It's a quite thick book, and in this book, the the city mayor sign it the preface of the book, and in the end of the book, we make the Madrid Botanical Declaration, asking for urban botanists to be hired in the city, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I said that we have around 5 minutes for questions. Does anyone in the room have a question? Está diciendo que si vosotros habéis visto que haya apoyo por parte de los gobiernos y en específico por parte del gobierno de Madrid para la conservación de la flora.
Right. This is a good question. That's what we are asking for, especially for the city governments, the council governments. I don't know to say this in English. The government of the city, they are not very much they are not very much concerned about biodiversity, I must say. You find better support when you are talking with the state government or regional governments in Spain, but the cities are a different place. So, because a city is very complicated to manage in terms of conservation and biodiversity. So it's difficult, but we were lucky. We were lucky. Just,
Any other question? Well, the one that I have is that you've said that the citizen science is especially popular among older people. And I think that that relates a lot with a very recent problem that has been in Spain with the dunes, where I think there was at the end of last week, one of the best conserved dunes that is protected, Maspalomas, was completely ravaged by teenagers because of a TikTok challenge or something like that, where someone said that they hid money in the dunes, so they just destroyed them. So my question is, can you see in the future young people having more participation, or it's kind of a lost cause or something that will stay like this in the future?
Actually, it's difficult to tell about these things. I am not an expert in this. I am only see plants in my life, but I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem. I think the next generation are losing contact with nature in general, and this is a problem. And they should. We have to try to make effort to not to lose this new generation for conservation purposes.
Está preguntando que Londres es la primera ciudad que va a convertirse, digamos, en parque nacional. Entonces, si vosotros estáis viendo algún tipo de presión o dinámica hacia una mayor preocupación por su biodiversidad por parte de las ciudades, no solo en Madrid, sino en general.
Wow, this is a very. I didn't know about this. London to become a national park.
No, todavía no, pero es una iniciativa.
But it has been proposal about this. Oh, I haven't been in London for maybe 20 years or something, so it has changed a lot. So because I don't know. I guess it's depending what you consider national parks. As we said on the talk, cities are going to be cities forever because the people like to live in cities. The people like to meet other people, and the people like to go to live in neighborhoods. So who knows? I mean, the future, this kind of revolutionary proposal, national park in cities. I think here they should listen to London, in Madrid, for example, because it's one of the things that they told us, the government in the city. Look, guys, we cannot put a national park in the city. You have already your national parks high in the mountains or by in other places, but you can do a national park in cities. But if London does, why not?
Okay. And I think that's all the time we have for questions. So thank to the audience, thank to the online audience, and one last round of applause for the speakers.